Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. I know, the exams are just around the corner, but please don't you worry one bit. Today, we're going to tackle one of my absolute favorite chapters, Self and Personality. It's all about what makes you, well, you. Chalo, let's get started.
Have you ever just looked at your best friend and thought, how can we be so close, but so different? Maybe you're the type who loves staying home with a good book, where your friend is always ready to go out. Or maybe you get all nervous before a test, but they seem so incredibly confident. Well, this chapter is going to help us understand exactly that.
So, to get the answers to all those questions about you and your best friend, we first need to understand this idea of the self. It's really the answer to that huge fundamental question we all ask, who am I?
Okay, now for your exams, you need to know the proper definition. So what is self? Well, according to your textbook, it's basically everything that makes up you. All your experiences, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings about who you are. Simple, right? It's the whole package.
Now listen carefully. This is a very important distinction, especially for your exams. Your self actually has two parts. First, you have your personal identity. This is what makes you unique, like saying, I'm a hardworking person, or I'm a singer. Then you have your social identity. This is what connects you to a group, like saying, I'm a North Indian or I'm a Hindu. So one is about what makes you different, and the other is about where you belong.
So now that we know what the self is, let's look at its different parts. I like to think of them as your inner superpowers. These are the tools you have inside you that shape how you act and feel every single day.
We have four main superpowers. First is self-concept. That's how you see yourself. I'm a good student. Then there's self-esteem. That's how much you value yourself. I like who I am. After that comes self-efficacy, your belief that you can actually achieve things. And finally, self-regulation, your ability to control your own actions. Let's look at those last two a little more closely, because they are really powerful.
This slide shows self-efficacy perfectly, a concept from Bandura's theory. When you have high self-efficacy, you really believe in yourself. You feel less scared of challenges, like a tough exam, because you have that little voice inside saying, hey, I can do this. And you know what? That belief itself makes you so much more likely to succeed.
And this is just brilliant. It shows us how we can improve our self-control. Our culture has beautiful examples of this, like when people keep a vrat or a roza. Psychologists suggest a simple three-step method. First, just observe your own behavior. Are you spending way too much time on Instagram? Second, give yourself some instructions. Tell yourself, okay, I will only check my phone after I finish this one chapter. And third, reinforce yourself. When you actually do it, reward yourself. Go watch a movie or eat your favorite snack. It works.
Okay, so we've talked about self. That's who you are. Now, let's move on to the second big part of this chapter, personality. This is all about how you behave in a pretty consistent and stable way across all kinds of different situations.
And just like we did with self, let's get the official definition down for your exams. So personality refers to your unique and stable qualities. For example, if you're a shy person, chances are you're going to be shy at a party, you'll be shy in a new class, and you might even be shy when meeting a new relative. It's that consistent pattern of behavior.
Now, psychologists study personality in two main ways. The type approach, well, it likes to put people into neat little boxes, like you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. But the trait approach is a bit different. It sees qualities on a scale. So instead of just asking if you're shy, it asks how shy you are. See the difference?
Okay, everyone, pay close attention now. This is a question that comes up in exams very often. The Big Five is a super popular trait theory, and it's something you absolutely must know.
And the easiest way to remember these, trust me, is with a simple acronym, OCEAN. Just like the ocean. You've got O for openness, C for conscientiousness, E for extroversion, A for agreeableness, and N for neuroticism. Just remember that word, ocean, and I promise you'll ace any question on the Big Five.
All right, let's dive into one of the most famous and, yes, slightly complex theories of personality. We're going to explore the mind's secret room with none other than Sigmund Freud and his psychodynamic approach. But don't you worry, I'll make it very simple for you.
So this diagram from your textbook might look a little complicated, but it's not, I promise. Freud said our personality has three main parts, the id, the ego, and the superego.
And here's what was so revolutionary about his idea. He argued that most of what drives us is actually hidden in our unconscious mind, kind of like the giant bottom part of an iceberg that you can't even see.
So first up, we have the id. The easiest way to think about it is as that little devil on your shoulder. It's the part of you that you're born with. It wants what it wants, and it wants it now. It works on something called the pleasure principle. It's all about seeking pleasure and avoiding pain instantly.
And then, on the other shoulder, you have the superego. This is the little angel. It's your conscience, your sense of right and wrong that you learn from your parents and from society. It's always pushing you to be perfect and moral all the time.
And finally, caught in the middle, we have the ego. The ego is like the referee in a match between the id and the superego. It has to work on the reality principle. Basically, its job is to try and satisfy the id's desires, but in a realistic way that doesn't completely upset the superego. And Freud also believed this whole balancing act is shaped as we grow up through 5 key stages, which is a super important exam topic that we'll lock in during our final revision.
Now, Freud's theory was totally groundbreaking, but it's not the only way psychologists look at personality. Let's just quickly touch upon a few other important approaches that your chapter mentions, shall we?
The cultural approach is so fascinating, especially for us here in India. It basically says that our personality is shaped by our culture. Just look at this diagram. In many Western cultures, the individual is seen as separate and independent. But in Indian culture, the self and the group are deeply, deeply connected. Our identity is often tied to our family, our community, our traditions, and this shapes our personality in very different ways.
Next up, the behavioral approach. It sees personality in a completely different light. It suggests we are who we are because of what we've learned. We develop certain habits and traits simply because we get rewarded for them. And then you have the humanistic approach, which is so optimistic. Championed by psychologists like Carl Rogers, it focuses on our amazing inner potential to grow and become the best possible version of ourselves, a wonderful concept called self-actualization.
All right, we are almost at the end. Now, just as I promised, let's lock in those final crucial details that often pop up as 1 or 2 mark questions. Are you ready?
So, remember when we were talking about Freud's theory of how our personality develops? This is one of the most common questions you'll get from his theory. Can you name his 5 psychosexual stages of development? Give it a try.
And there they are. You have the oral stage, which is focused on the mouth, the anal stage during toilet training, the phallic stage when children discover differences, then the quiet latency stage, and finally the genital stage at maturity. Just remembering that order, oral, anal, phallic, latency, genital, will set you up perfectly for any question on this.
And that's it! We've covered the most important concepts of this chapter. Remember, understanding self and personality is like getting a user manual for yourself and for everyone around you. You have worked so hard and you understand this topic really well now. I have full faith in you, so go and write your exam with complete confidence. You are going to do fantastically. All the very best.